The tiny red light blinked from the smoke detector like a heartbeat of betrayal. I stood frozen on the velvet ottoman, my husband's hidden camera cold in my palm. For 3 years of marriage, I'd believed Dr. Michael Evans was just protective, caring, concerned about my fragile mental health. But as I scrolled through the footage on the memory card, I discovered the truth. Every intimate moment, every private breakdown, every vulnerable second had been recorded and analyzed. The videos showed him tampering with my medication, planting false evidence of psychosis, and having whispered phone calls with a psychiatrist about having me committed. Our perfect suburban life was a carefully constructed prison, and my husband wasn't just gaslighting me, he was building a case to have me institutionalized so he could access my family as fortune. The final clip made my blood run cold. Michael smiling at the camera after I took my medication, whispering, "One more month, and the money will be mine." I climbed down from the ottoman, my hands trembling not with fear anymore, but with cold, calculated rage. He thought I was breaking. He thought I was defeated. But he'd just made his biggest mistake. He'd underestimated the woman he was trying to destroy. I stared at the camera in my hand, the tiny lens that had captured my most private moments. All those times I'd thought I was paranoid. All those moments I'd questioned my own sanity, all the proof Michael had shown me of my erratic behavior, it had all been manufactured. Carefully constructed, deliberately designed to make me doubt myself until I was completely dependent on him. The memories came flooding back, each one now viewed through the lens of this new, horrifying truth. The way he'd slowly isolated me from my friends and family, telling them I was too fragile for visitors. The way he'd controlled our finances, saying he was protecting me from stress, the way he'd documented every emotional moment, every tearful breakdown, every time I'd questioned his version of reality. I thought about the inheritance from my grandparents, the $20 million trust fund I couldn't access until I was 35, or unless I was declared mentally incompetent. I was 34, the timing wasn't a coincidence. My hands stopped trembling as a cold clarity settled over me. I wasn't the broken, unstable woman Michael had convinced me I was. I was a victim of a sophisticated, calculated plot to steal my inheritance and destroy my life. I carefully placed the camera back exactly where I found it. I needed evidence, more evidence. I needed to understand the full scope of his plan. Over the next week, I became the perfect patient. I took my medication or pretended to, carefully disposing of the pills when Michael wasn't looking. I attended my therapy sessions, playing the role of the grateful wife getting the help she needed. I smiled and laughed and cooked his favorite meals, all while secretly gathering the evidence that would destroy him. I found more cameras in the living room, the bathroom, even my car. Each one felt like another violation, another betrayal. But with each discovery, my resolve hardened. I reached out to my old friend Rachel, a lawyer I hadn't spoken to in years because Michael had convinced me she was a bad influence. I met her at a coffee shop far from our neighborhood, my heart pounding with paranoia that Michael might have someone following me. "Lizzie," Rachel said when she saw me, her eyes widening in concern. "My God, are you okay? You look ... different. I need your help," I said, my voice low and urgent. I showed her the cameras, the footage, the evidence I'd gathered. As she scrolled through the files on my laptop, her expression shifted from concern to horror. "This is ... This is beyond gaslighting. This is criminal. We need to go to the police." "Not yet," I said. "I need more evidence. I need to understand who else is involved, because Michael wasn't working alone. The psychiatrist he was conspiring with, Dr. Rebecca Moore, was someone he'd introduced me to 6 months ago. The same psychiatrist who had been documenting my declining mental state and preparing the commitment papers. Over the next month, I played my part perfectly while Rachel and I built our case. We discovered Michael had done this before. His first wife had died in a suspicious accident 2 years before he met me, leaving him a substantial life insurance payout. We found offshore accounts where he'd been stashing money. We even found the facility where he planned to have me committed, a private mental health center with a reputation for keeping wealthy patients indefinitely. The day before he planned to have me committed, I decided to turn the tables. I invited Michael's parents over for dinner, the people who had welcomed me into their family, who had comforted me during my episodes, who I now suspected were part of the conspiracy. During dessert, I accidentally spilled wine on Michael's shirt. While he was changing, I accessed his laptop and connected it to the television. While Michael's changing, I said sweetly to his parents, "I wanted to show you some home videos I found." I played the footage of Michael tampering with my medication. Then the recordings of his conversations with Dr. Moore, then the documents outlining their plan to have me committed and access my trust fund. Michael's mother gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. His father stared at the screen, his face pale with shock. "What is this?" his father demanded when Michael returned to the room. Michael's face went through a series of emotions: confusion, recognition, panic, and finally, fury. "You stupid bitch," he snarled, advancing toward me. "What have you done?" But his father stood up, blocking his path. "Is this true, Michael? Were you planning to have your wife committed?" The confrontation that followed was explosive. Accusations flew, truths were revealed. And through it all, I stood calm and composed, the evidence speaking for itself. In the end, Michael was arrested. Dr. Moore lost her medical license. And I discovered that his parents had known nothing. They'd been manipulated too, fed lies about my condition and my need for treatment. As I stood in our empty house after the police took Michael away, I realized I was free. Free from the gaslighting, free from the manipulation, free from the prison he'd built around me. But more importantly, I was myself again. The strong, capable woman he'd tried to destroy. The woman who had fought back and won. The doorbell rang. It was Rachel, holding a bottle of champagne and smiling broadly. "To new beginnings," she said, hugging me tightly. "To the truth," I replied, smiling for the first time in years without having to force it. Because sometimes the most dangerous prisons aren't made of bars and locks, but of whispered lies and manufactured realities. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is trust yourself enough to break free.